time ago. Oh, that's such a boring way to start a story. Almost 80 years ago today, the cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki were bombed, ushering in a new method of fighting wars, the introduction of the atomic bombs. But how did we get here? Well, let's find out. It's 1938. Germany was still feeling the weight of the Treaty of Versailles. She was made to pay significant reparations totaling 132 billion gold marks, estimated to be $33 billion at the time, to compensate Allied countries for war damages, what many considered an unreasonable debt. Germany lost substantial territories, including Alsace-Lorraine to France and Ukraine-Malmedy to Belgium. Germany's military was severely limited with reductions in army size to 100,000 soldiers, prohibition on air forces, and limitations on naval forces. The Treaty of Versailles forced Germany to accept responsibility for causing the war and its damages. Germany faced restrictions on its economy, including limits on trade, industry, and natural resources. With the excessive printing of money trying to repay her debts, Germany's economy crumbled as a result of hyperinflation. Adolf Hitler, the German politician and leader, felt the sanctions imposed on Germany by the Allied powers was unfair. As a result of this, he decided to go against them and started rebuilding the German army. Well, here's the interesting part. As part of Hitler's foreign policy, Nazi Germany annexed Austria in March 1938, and in March 1939, Germany annexed the rest of Czechoslovakia, and in September 1939, Germany annexed most of Western Poland. The attack on Poland provoked the United Kingdom and France to declare war on Germany, marking the beginning of the Second World War. The United Kingdom and France tried to cut off the roads that led to Germany's military supplies that passes through Norway. Germany reacted by invading Denmark and Norway. Within a few days, Germany captured Luxembourg, the Netherlands, and Belgium. The British army retreats upon encountering the prowess of the German military. The latter faced the French army and defeated them. Thereafter, an armistice was signed. Germany occupied France. Germany, Italy, and Japan combined forces to form the Axis powers. While in Africa, fighting broke out between Italian colonies and Allied colonies. In Europe, despite the massive bombing of cities in the United Kingdom, Germany failed to invade and take over the country. Adolf Hitler re-strategizes by attempting to take over the USSR, but his plan was delayed as Italy failed to invade and take over Greece and was forced to retreat by the Allied forces. The German army then attempted to invade Yugoslavia and Greece. There were attempts to assassinate Adolf Hitler by the anti-Nazis, but this failed. On June 22nd, 1941, Axis forces launched the largest military operation in history to attack the USSR. This military operation was known as Operation Barbarossa. The Allied forces supported the Soviets by opening a supply route through Iran. German troops arrived in Stalingrad and started a seizure of the city, which lasted for 872 days and caused the death of over 1 million civilians. At the south, German troops were stopped at the gate of Moscow, where they suffered a harsh and deadly winter. However, this would be the first major German setback since the beginning of the Second World War. In Asia, Japan occupied the territories of France in Indonesia and China. To counter Japan's expansionist policy, the United States imposed an embargo on her steel and oil. In response to this, Japan carried out a surprise attack on the United States Navy at Pearl Harbor, damaging a large part of the United States naval fleet, thereby leading to the involvement of the United States in the war on the side of the Allied forces. United States provided the Soviets with supplies to aid in her fight against Germany. On June 6, 1944, Allied forces landed in Normandy. The armies took over quickly and liberated Paris. With their continuous victories, the Allied forces announced the establishment of the United Nations. On April 30th, Adolf Hitler committed suicide in his bunker just before the arrival of the Soviet army. 8 days after, the German army surrenders. Through the joint efforts of the USSR and the United States, there was an attempt to overcome the Empire of Japan. The United States dropped two atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki on the 6th and 9th of August 1945, respectively, which has caused biological and chemical changes in Japan to date. On August 15th, Japan surrendered, marking the end of the Second World War. The death toll of civilians in the Second World War is approximated to be 60 million. The United States and the USSR emerged as the remaining superpowers, ushering in the era of the Cold War, during which both powers fought over global dominance and ideological differences through proxy.